The wallet was heavy. That's what Maya noticed first. Not the leather, not the stitching, but the weight of it pressed against her palm when she picked it up from between the train seats. She shouldn't have opened it. She knew that the moment her thumb found the clasp. But the 10 p.m. subway car was empty except for a sleeping homeless man 3 rows down, and curiosity was a small sin compared to the ones happening above ground in the city. She flipped it open. Cash, thick, crisp bills folded in stacks that made her stomach tighten. $50 bills, a lot of them. Behind them, hundreds, her breath caught. She'd never seen this much money in person, not held like this, not real. There was an ID card, Korean name, English name beneath it, James Kang asterisk. The photo showed a man in his early 30s, dark hair swept back, expression unreadable. Handsome in a way that felt dangerous even in a laminated picture. No smile, just sharp cheekbones and eyes that looked through the camera instead of at it. Maya closed the wallet. Her hands were shaking. She counted to 3, then opened it again and checked the cash. $50,000, maybe more. Her nursing school tuition was $32,000. Her mother's medical bills were bleeding her dry at $400 a month. The landlord wanted 2 months rent up front or she was out by Friday. She could take $2,000. Just 2. He'd never know. People who carried $50,000 in cash didn't count it. Her finger touched the top bill. The train lurched. She closed the wallet. Maya worked the night shift at Mercy General Hospital, 4th floor, post-op recovery. She was good at her job, steady hands, calm voice, the kind of presence that made patients feel safe even when their bodies were failing them. She'd been there 3 years, ever since dropping out of nursing school when her mother got sick. The plan was to go back. The plan was always to go back. She kept the wallet in her locker during her shift. Every time she passed the break room, she thought about it. $50,000, a different life, a ticket out. By 6 a.m., she'd made her decision. The address on the ID was in Prute Heights, old money, old buildings, the kind of neighborhood where doormen wore gloves and didn't make eye contact. Maya took 2 buses to get there, the wallet wrapped in a plastic grocery bag in her purse. She hadn't slept. Her scrubs smelled like antiseptic and sweat. The building was gray stone, 8 stories, iron-gated entrance. She pressed the buzzer for Unit 7C, no answer. She tried again. A camera above the door swiveled toward her. She looked up at it, suddenly aware of how she must look, exhausted, underdressed, out of place. The intercom crackled. Yes. Male voice, flat, not welcoming. "I'm looking for James Kang," Maya said. "I found his wallet." Silence, long enough that she wondered if the connection had cut. Then, "Leave it with the doorman. There's a lot of cash inside. I'd feel better giving it to him directly." Another pause. "Come up." The door buzzed. She pulled it open and stepped into a lobby that smelled like old wood and lemon polish. No doorman, just marble floors and a chandelier that probably cost more than her car. She took the elevator to the 7th floor. Unit 7C was at the end of the hall. The door opened before she knocked. He was taller than she expected. The photo hadn't captured that, or the way he filled the doorway without trying. Dark slacks, white shirt unbuttoned at the collar, barefoot. His hair was still damp, like he'd just showered. He looked at her the way someone looks at a stain they're deciding whether to clean. "You're Maya Reyes," he said. Her throat tightened. "How do you?" "You opened my wallet." It wasn't a question. She swallowed and held out the plastic bag. "I'm sorry. I just wanted to find your address. Everything's still inside." He didn't take it. He stepped aside. "Come in." "I should." "Come in." It wasn't loud. It wasn't harsh. But it wasn't optional. Maya walked past him into an apartment that looked like it had been staged for a magazine. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. Leather furniture, dark wood, nothing personal except a single glass of whiskey on the coffee table. The door closed behind her with a soft click. "Put it on the table," James said. She did. He walked over, picked up the wallet, opened it. His fingers moved through the cash quickly, efficiently. He didn't count it. He weighed it, the way someone weighs something they've held 1,000 times. It's all there, Maya said. Her voice sounded too loud. I know. He set the wallet down and looked at her. You took the subway from Mercy General. You work nights. You need money. Her pulse spiked. I didn't take anything. I didn't say you did. He picked up the whiskey glass, took a slow sip. You thought about it. She opened her mouth, closed it. There was no point lying to someone who saw through skin. Thank you for returning it, James said. He reached into the wallet, pulled out $500 bills, held them out. For your trouble. Maya stared at the money. $500, a week's pay, her rent, her mother's medication. She didn't take it. I don't want a reward, she said. I just wanted to do the right thing. Something shifted in his expression. Not a smile, nothing that soft. Just a flicker of interest, like he'd seen something unexpected. The right thing, he repeated. Yes. He studied her for a long moment. Then he folded the bills and tucked them back into the wallet. What's your address? Why? Because I'm going to remember you. It sounded like a promise and a threat. Maya's instincts screamed at her to leave, but her feet stayed planted. There was something about him, about the way he stood, the way he spoke, that made running feel more dangerous than staying. I don't need you to remember me, she said quietly. Too late. He walked past her to the door and opened it. Go home, Maya. She left. She didn't look back. But she felt his eyes on her, all the way to the elevator. 3 days passed. Maya told herself she'd forget about him. About the wallet, the money, the way he'd said her name like he was filing it away somewhere permanent. She went to work, came home, paid what bills she could, ignored the ones she couldn't. On the 4th night, someone knocked on her apartment door at 11 p.m. She lived in a converted efficiency in Midtown, 4th floor, no elevator, locks that barely worked. The knock was firm, deliberate, not the landlord, not her mother. Maya checked the peephole. James Kang stood in the hallway, hands in the pockets of a long black coat, expression calm. He looked at the door like he could see through it. Her heart slammed against her ribs. She thought about not answering, pretending she wasn't home. But the lights were on, and he'd already seen her shadow move across the peephole. She opened the door halfway. How did you find me? You work at Mercy General, 4th floor, night shift. You take the 47 bus home. Your landlord's name is Rick Costello, and he's raising your rent because he knows you can't afford to move. Maya's stomach dropped. You've been following me. No, I've been paying attention. He glanced past her into the apartment, cramped, cluttered, a fold-out couch that doubled as her bed. His gaze returned to her. Can I come in? No. Smart. He pulled an envelope from his coat and held it out. This is for you. She didn't take it. I told you I don't want money. It's not money. Then what is it? A job offer. Maya blinked. What? I need someone I can trust, James said. Someone who had $50,000 in her hands and gave it back. That's rare. I'm a nurse. I know this isn't nursing. He set the envelope on the doorframe. Read it. Think about it. If you're interested, there's a number inside. I'm not interested. You will be. He turned to leave, then paused. Your landlord's going to evict you in 9 days. Your mother needs a specialist you can't afford. You're drowning, Maya. I'm offering you a way out. I don't even know you. You know I don't lie. He started down the stairs. His voice drifted back, calm and certain. And you know you're going to call. The envelope sat on her counter for 2 days. Maya walked past it every morning, every night. She didn't open it. She didn't throw it away. On the 3rd day, her landlord taped an eviction notice to her door. She opened the envelope. Inside was a single sheet of paper, no letterhead, just a typed message. I need someone to manage a property in Koreatown. Legitimate business. $2,500 a week. Cash. No questions asked about where the money comes from. You'll be safe. You'll be protected. And you'll never have to choose between your mother and your rent again. Below that, a phone number. Maya sat on her couch and stared at the paper until the words blurred. $2,500 a week, $10,000 a month. She could pay off her mother's medical bills in 6 months. She could go back to school. She could breathe. But this wasn't a normal job. She knew that. Men who carried $50,000 in cash and showed up at your door at midnight didn't offer normal jobs. Her phone buzzed, a text from an unknown number. The offer expires tonight. I don't wait. She should delete it, block the number, forget this ever happened. Instead, she called. He answered on the first ring. Yes or no? I have questions. You'll get answers when you start. Yes or no? Maya closed her eyes, thought about her mother's medication running out, thought about sleeping in her car, thought about working herself to dust and still not being enough. Yes. Good, I'll pick you up tomorrow at noon. Where are we going? To work. He hung up. Maya stared at her phone. Her hands were shaking again. She didn't know if it was fear or relief. Maybe both. James picked her up in a black Mercedes with windows so dark she couldn't see inside until the door opened. He was dressed in a suit this time, charcoal gray, perfectly tailored, no tie. He looked like money, old money, the kind that didn't need to announce itself. Get in, he said. She did. The car smelled like leather and something faintly metallic. There was a driver, older man, Korean, silent, and another man in the passenger seat who didn't turn around. Maya sat in the back next to James. He didn't look at her. He looked at his phone, scrolling through messages in Korean script. Where are we going? Maya asked. Koreatown. I'll show you the property. What kind of property? A restaurant. You'll manage the day-to-day operations. Inventory, staff, cash flow. Simple. I don't know anything about running a restaurant. You're organized. You're detail-oriented. You follow instructions. That's all you need. Maya looked out the window. The city slid past, gray buildings, cracked sidewalks, a man yelling at a pigeon. Normal, ordinary, nothing about this felt ordinary. What's the catch? She asked. No catch. There's always a catch. James finally looked at her. The catch is that you work for me now. That means you do what I tell you to do when I tell you to do it. You don't ask questions you don't need answers to. And you don't talk about this job to anyone. Not your mother, not your friends, no one. And if I do? You won't. It wasn't a threat. It was a certainty. Like he'd already decided what kind of person she was and what she was capable of. Why me? Maya asked. You could hire anyone. I don't trust anyone. He returned to his phone. I trust you. The restaurant was small. 20 tables, open kitchen, red lanterns hanging from the ceiling. It looked legitimate. Clean. Busy. A woman in her 50s worked the register. A younger man prepped vegetables in the back. They both straightened when James walked in. The woman bowed slightly. The man's hands stilled on the cutting board. James spoke to them in Korean. His tone was calm, but both of them nodded quickly, eyes down. He gestured to Maya. This is Maya. She'll be managing operations starting tomorrow. You answer to her. The woman glanced at Maya, then back at James. She nodded. James led Maya to a small office in the back desk, filing cabinet, safe in the corner. He opened the safe. Inside were stacks of cash, ledgers, and a handgun. Maya's breath caught. I'm not. You're not going to touch it, James said, but you need to know it's there. He closed the safe, spun the dial. Every Friday, you'll count the week's cash and record it in the ledger. You'll separate the restaurant income from the other income. You don't ask what the other income is. You just count it and record it. That's money laundering. That's bookkeeping. He handed her a key. This opens the safe. Memorize the combination. Don't write it down. Maya stared at the key. It was small, brass, warm from his hand. She should give it back. Walk away. Go back to her crumbling apartment and her minimum wage shifts and her ordinary, exhausting life. She closed her fingers around the key. Good, James said. He walked to the door, paused. You start tomorrow at 10. Don't be late. What if I mess up? You won't. How do you know? He looked at her the way he had in his apartment, like he could see every fear, every doubt, every desperate hope she'd ever had. Because you returned my wallet. Then he left. Maya stood alone in the office, holding the key, listening to the muffled sounds of the kitchen. She thought about turning around, running, calling the police. Instead, she sat down at the desk and opened the ledger. The first week was easy, too easy. Maya showed up at 10 every morning, organized inventory, managed staff schedules, counted cash. The restaurant ran smoothly. The woman at the register, Mrs. Choi, spoke broken English but understood numbers. The prep cook, David, kept his head down and worked fast. No one asked questions. No one made trouble. The money came in steady. Restaurant income went in one column. Other income, always cash, always in unmarked envelopes delivered by men in dark cars, went in another. Maya counted it, recorded it, locked it in the safe. She didn't ask where it came from. She didn't see James. By Friday, she'd almost convinced herself this was a normal job. Weird, but normal. Then the door opened at 9 p.m. after closing, and 3 men walked in. Not customers, she knew that immediately. They moved wrong, too confident, too aware of the space. The one in front was white, mid-40s, leather jacket, scar across his jaw. The 2 behind him were younger, broader, hands in their pockets. Mrs. Choi was still in the back, cleaning. David had left an hour ago. Maya was alone at the register, counting the day's cash. The man with the scar smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. "You the new manager." Maya's pulse spiked. She kept her hands steady. "We're closed." "I can see that." He walked closer, boots heavy on the tile. "I'm looking for Kang. Where is he?" "I don't know." "You work for him, you know." "I manage the restaurant. I don't know where he is." The man's smile faded. He leaned against the counter, close enough that Maya could smell cigarettes and something sour. "Let me explain how this works. Kang owes people. Those people want their money. You're going to tell me how to find him." "I don't have that information." "Then you're useless." He straightened, nodded to the men behind him. "Check the office." Maya stepped in front of the counter. "You can't go back there." The man laughed. "You're going to stop me." "No." James's voice came from the kitchen entrance, calm and cold. "I am." Everyone froze. James stood in the doorway, hands loose at his sides, suit jacket unbuttoned. He looked relaxed. He looked like he'd been expecting this. The man with the scar turned, and something flickered across his face, surprise, then anger, then something that looked like fear before he buried it. "Kang." "Marcus." James walked forward slowly, deliberately. "You're in my restaurant. You owe Petrov 200 grand. He sent me to collect." "I don't owe Petrov anything. I gave him a loan. He defaulted. That debt's mine now." Marcus's jaw tightened. "That's not how he sees it." "I don't care how he sees it." James stopped 3 feet away. His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. "You have 10 seconds to leave before this becomes a problem you can't walk away from." One of the men behind Marcus shifted his weight. His hand moved toward his pocket. James's eyes flicked to him, just once, just for a second, and the man went still. "Petrov's not going to let this go," Marcus said. "Petrov's not stupid enough to start a war over 200,000. James smiled, and it was the most dangerous thing Maya had ever seen. "But if he is, tell him I'll be happy to finish it." Silence, the kind that pressed against your eardrums. Marcus stepped back. "This isn't over." "Yes," James said, "it is." Marcus and his men left. The door swung shut behind them. The restaurant felt smaller now, like the air had been sucked out. James turned to Maya. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. Her hands were trembling. She pressed them flat against the counter. "Good." He walked to the register, glanced at the cash. "Finish counting, I'll wait." "Who was that?" "Someone who made a mistake." "Are they coming back?" "No." "How do you know?" James looked at her. "Because I'll kill them if they do." He said it the way someone says I'll pick up milk on the way home. Calm, matter of fact, true. Maya's throat felt tight. "You said this was legitimate." "The restaurant is. The men who want to hurt me aren't." He leaned against the counter, arms crossed. "This is what protection looks like, Maya. I told you that you'd be safe. I meant it." I didn't sign up for this. Yes, you did. You just didn't know it yet. She wanted to argue, to walk out, to go back to her small, suffocating life where no one threatened her and no one promised to kill for her. Instead, she finished counting the cash. James drove her home that night. The city was dark, quiet, the kind of quiet that felt like held breath. Maya sat in the passenger seat, staring out the window. Her hands had finally stopped shaking. You did well, James said. I didn't do anything. You didn't panic. You didn't run. That's more than most people. Maya glanced at him. His profile was sharp in the glow of the dashboard. Strong jaw, straight nose, eyes fixed on the road. He looked like someone who'd never doubted a decision in his life. Why did you really hire me? She asked. I told you, I need someone I can trust. You could have hired someone with experience, someone who knows this world. People who know this world are the ones I can't trust. He stopped at a red light, looked at her. You're not corrupted yet, that's rare. And when I am? You won't be. How do you know? Because I'll make sure of it. The light turned green. He drove. They pulled up outside her building. James left the engine running. Get some sleep. Tomorrow will be normal. Is that what you call this? Normal? For me, yes. Maya opened the door, then paused. Thank you for tonight. Don't thank me. His voice was quiet. I'm the reason they came. She didn't know what to say to that, so she got out and walked to her building. She could feel him watching until she was inside, until the door locked behind her. When she looked out her window, the Mercedes was gone. 2 weeks passed without incident. The restaurant ran smoothly. Maya learned the rhythms: morning prep, lunch rush, evening service, closing. She learned the staff's names, their routines, their tells when something was wrong. She learned which envelopes went straight to the safe and which went in the ledger first. She didn't see James again until the 3rd Friday. He came in at midnight, after everyone had left. Maya was in the office, finishing the week's count. She heard the front door open and close, heard footsteps cross the dining room. She knew it was him before he appeared in the doorway. Working late, he said. Just finishing up. She closed the ledger, locked the safe. Everything's balanced. I know, I've been watching the numbers. He walked in, leaned against the desk. You're good at this. It's just bookkeeping. It's more than that. You keep people calm, you don't ask questions, you understand how things work without being told. He studied her. You're wasted on nursing. Maya turned to face him. Don't do that. Do what? Make this sound like a compliment. I'm here because I'm desperate, not because I belong here. You belong wherever you decide to be. I didn't decide this. You decided for me. James tilted his head. You could have said no. You didn't give me a choice. I gave you exactly what you needed. That's not the same as taking your choice. He straightened. You're angry. I'm realistic. You're scared. He said it without judgment. That's good. Fear keeps you sharp, but don't confuse fear with regret. Maya's chest tightened. What if I do regret it? Then you walk away. James reached into his jacket, pulled out an envelope, set it on the desk. 2 weeks' pay, cash plus a bonus. If you want to leave, take it and go. I won't stop you. I won't follow you. And I'll make sure no one else does either. She stared at the envelope. It was thick, heavier than it should be. Or you stay, James continued, and you let me teach you how to survive in this world. Why would you do that? Because I see something in you. He moved toward the door, paused. And because you're the only person in this city who gave me back $50,000 when you could have kept it. He left. Maya sat alone in the office, staring at the envelope. She didn't open it. She didn't need to. She already knew what her answer was. She stayed. The next month, James taught her the rules. Not all at once. He wasn't a teacher who sat you down and explained. He taught through experience, through observation, through moments that felt like tests but were really lessons. She learned how to read a room when dangerous men walked in, how to count money fast without looking nervous, how to keep her face blank when someone lied to her, how to know when to speak and when silence was smarter. She learned the structure beneath the restaurant, the network of people who owed James favors, who feared him, who respected him. She learned that he owned more than just this building, that his name carried weight in rooms she'd never see. She learned that violence in his world wasn't loud. It was surgical, quiet, over before most people realized it had started. And she learned that James kept his promises. When her landlord tried to raise her rent again, the man suddenly decided to sell the building. The new owner offered Maya a lease at half the price. When her mother's specialist said the waiting list was 6 months, an appointment opened the next week. When a drunk patient at the hospital got aggressive during her shift, security appeared in seconds. 2 men she'd never seen before who walked the man out and made sure he never came back. Maya didn't ask how James made these things happen. She didn't need to. She just knew that being under his protection felt like standing in the eye of a storm, dangerous, but safe. It was late November when everything changed. Maya was closing the restaurant, alone in the office, when her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "Your mother's at Mercy General, 4th floor, come now." Her heart stopped. She grabbed her coat and ran. The hospital was 15 minutes away by cab. She made it in 10. She didn't remember paying the driver. She didn't remember taking the elevator. She just remembered bursting through the 4th floor doors and seeing her mother on a gurney, pale and shaking, an IV in her arm. What happened? Maya grabbed the attending nurse. What happened to her? She collapsed at home. Neighbor called 911. "We're running tests, but it looks like her heart." "I need to see her." "She's stable, but..." Maya was already moving. She pushed past the nurse, past the curtain, dropped to her knees beside the gurney. Her mother's eyes were closed. Her breathing was shallow. "Mom," Maya's voice cracked. "Mom, I'm here." Her mother's eyes fluttered open. She tried to smile. "You're supposed to be at work." "I don't care." Maya gripped her hand. "You're going to be okay. I'm here. You're going to be fine." But she didn't know that. She didn't know anything except that her mother looked smaller than she'd ever seen her, and the machines were beeping too fast, and the world was tilting. A hand settled on her shoulder, firm, steady. She looked up. James stood beside her, suit jacket gone, sleeves rolled up. He didn't ask what happened. He just looked at the monitors, at her mother, at the attending doctor hovering nearby. "What does she need?" James asked the doctor. The doctor hesitated. "We're waiting on test results. If it's what we think, she'll need surgery. Soon." "How soon?" "Within the week. But the cardiac unit is backed up and without insurance." "She has insurance." James pulled out his phone, typed something, hit send. "Dr. Alan Chen, he's the best in the state. He'll be here in an hour. You'll prep her for surgery tonight." The doctor stared. "I can't just..." "Yes, you can." James's voice was calm, but there was steel beneath it. "Make the call." The doctor left. Maya looked up at James, her vision blurring. "You can't." "I already did." "This isn't your problem." "You're my problem." He crouched beside her, eye level. "That makes her my problem, too." "Why?" Maya's voice broke. "Why do you care?" James held her gaze. "Because you didn't take the money." It didn't make sense. None of this made sense. But her mother's hand was warm in hers, and James was here, and for the first time in years, Maya felt like she wasn't drowning alone. "Thank you," she whispered. James stood. "Stay with her. I'll handle everything else." He did. Dr. Chen arrived in 45 minutes. The surgery happened that night. By morning, Maya's mother was stable, recovering, her prognosis good. The hospital billed someone Maya never saw. The follow-up care was arranged. Everything was handled. James didn't ask for thanks. He didn't ask for anything. But something shifted between them after that night. Something that felt like trust but sharper, more dangerous. Maya went back to the restaurant 2 days later. The staff had kept things running. Mrs. Choi didn't ask where she'd been. David just nodded when she walked in. But the office felt different now. Smaller, like she'd crossed a line she couldn't uncross. James came by that evening, after the dinner rush. He found her in the back, counting inventory. He didn't say anything at first. He just watched her work. Your mother's doing well, he said finally. I know. I visited her this morning. Good. Silence, the kind that felt full. I owe you, Maya said, not looking at him. No, you don't. Yes, I do. That surgery cost. I don't want your money, Maya. Then what do you want? James moved closer, not touching, just close enough that she could feel the heat of him. I want you to stop thinking you owe me. She turned. He was right there, close enough to see the faint scar above his eyebrow, the way his jaw tightened when he was deciding something. That's not how this works. It's how we work. We don't work, you're my boss. I'm more than that. Her breath caught. Don't. Don't what? Don't make this complicated. It's already complicated. He reached up, slow enough that she could stop him, and brushed a strand of hair behind her ear. His fingers were warm, rough. It's been complicated since you handed me that wallet. Maya's heart slammed. I'm not one of your people. No, you're better. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I, his thumb traced her jaw. But I know I've never met anyone who looked at $50,000 and walked away. I know I've never trusted someone the way I trust you. And I know that if anyone tries to hurt you again, I'll burn this city down to stop them. It should have scared her. It did scare her. But it also felt like the truest thing anyone had ever said. This is a bad idea, Maya whispered. Probably. You're dangerous. Yes. I should walk away. You should, his forehead touched hers, but you won't. She didn't. She kissed him instead, soft at first, testing, then harder when his hand slid to the back of her neck and pulled her closer. He tasted like whiskey and control, like all the power he carried wrapped in careful restraint. His other hand found her waist, steadied her, held her like she was something that could break. When they pulled apart, his breathing was uneven. Hers was worse. Maya, his voice was rough. Don't tell me this was a mistake. It wasn't. He kissed her forehead, slow and deliberate. But it changes things. I know. If you stay with me, people will come for you. Not because of what you do, because of who you are to me. I'm not afraid. You should be. Then make me safe. James pulled back enough to look at her. His eyes were dark, unreadable, but his hands were steady on her. I will. I swear to God I will. And she believed him. Because he'd already proven it. The next 3 months were the strangest of Maya's life. She managed the restaurant by day, learned James's world by night. He taught her things she'd never imagined needing. How to spot a tail, how to read a contract, how to disappear in a crowd. He introduced her to people whose names didn't exist on paper, whose handshakes were binding contracts, whose respect was earned in blood. She met the men who worked for him, not soldiers, James didn't call them that, but loyal. Quiet, dangerous. They nodded to her when she walked into rooms. They stepped aside when she passed. They knew what she was to him, even if neither of them said it out loud. And she learned that James wasn't just feared. He was necessary. He kept the balance. He settled disputes. He made sure the violence stayed controlled, purposeful, contained. In a city full of men who wanted power, James was the one who knew how to wield it without letting it consume him. But there were still people who wanted him gone. It started with small things. A shipment delayed. A contact who stopped answering calls. A rumor that someone was moving against him. James didn't react. He just watched, calculated, waited. Then Marcus came back. He walked into the restaurant on a Wednesday afternoon, alone this time. Maya was at the register. She saw him through the window before he came in, leather jacket, scar, the same cold smile. She texted James, one word, here. Marcus walked in. Miss me? No, Maya kept her hands steady. Leave. Not until I talk to Kang. He's not here. I'll wait. You won't. Marcus laughed. You've got balls, I'll give you that, but you're out of your depth. Maybe. Maya reached under the counter, fingers closing around the gun James had insisted she keep there. She didn't pull it, just let him see her hand move. But I know how to shoot. Marcus's smile faded. You're not going to shoot me. Try me." They stared at each other. The restaurant was silent except for the hum of the refrigerator. Mrs. Choi had disappeared into the kitchen. David was gone. Maya was alone. Then the door opened. James walked in, and the temperature dropped. "Marcus," his voice was calm, "you're persistent. Petrov wants his money." "Petrov's dead." James said it like he was commenting on the weather. "Heart attack, last week, so whoever sent you here is lying." Marcus's face went pale. "That's not." "Check the news, I'll wait." Marcus pulled out his phone, scrolled. His hands started to shake. He looked up at James, and for the first time, Maya saw real fear in his eyes. "You killed him." "He died, I didn't have to touch him." James walked closer. "But the people who worked for him, the ones trying to move on his territory, they're going to die, and anyone working for them is going to die with them." "I didn't know." "You should have." James stopped 2 feet away. "You came into my restaurant, you threatened my people, you made this personal." "I'm sorry." "No, you're not, but you will be." James nodded toward the door. 2 men walked in, silent, efficient, no wasted movement. They grabbed Marcus, one on each arm. He didn't fight. He just looked at James, eyes wide. "Please. Tell whoever sent you that this is what happens when they cross me. And tell them that if they come near Maya again, I won't stop at them. I'll burn down everyone they've ever loved." The men dragged Marcus out. The door closed. The restaurant was silent. James turned to Maya. "Are you hurt?" She shook her head. "Good." He walked to her, gently moved her hand away from the gun. "You didn't need to do that." "I wasn't going to let him hurt me." "I know." He pulled her close, arms wrapping around her. "But you don't have to protect yourself anymore. That's my job." Maya buried her face in his chest. She could hear his heartbeat, steady, even calm. "What did you do to Petrov?" "What needed to be done?" "James." "Don't ask questions you don't want answers to." She pulled back enough to look at him. "I want the answer." He studied her face. "He was going to start a war. A lot of people were going to die. I made sure it ended quietly." "By killing him." "By making sure his death looked natural." James's jaw tightened. "This is who I am, Maya. This is what I do, if that's too much." "It's not." She kissed him, hard and desperate. "It's not too much. I just need to know you're not going to get yourself killed." "I won't." "Promise me." "I promise." He held her tighter. "I'm not going anywhere." And she believed him. Because James, Kang didn't break promises. Winter came hard that year. The restaurant stayed busy. Maya's mother recovered, moved into a better facility, started physical therapy. The money kept coming. The threats stopped. For a while, things were quiet. James stayed close. Not every night. He had business, obligations, territories to manage, but enough. Enough that Maya learned the shape of him in her bed, the way he slept light, always half aware. Enough that she learned what made him laugh, what made him go quiet, what ghosts he carried that he'd never name. She learned that he'd grown up in Koreatown, that his father had been a fixer, that power was inherited in his world like eye color. She learned that he'd been groomed for this since childhood, that he'd never had a choice, that the difference between them was that she'd had the option to walk away, and he never did. She learned that he was lonelier than she'd ever imagined someone so powerful could be. And she learned that loving him was the most dangerous thing she'd ever done. It was late February when the call came. Maya was at the restaurant, closing up, when her phone rang. Unknown number. She answered. "Hello. You need to come to Pier 57. Now." Male voice, Korean accent, one of James's men. Her stomach dropped. "What happened?" "Just come, alone." He hung up. Maya grabbed her coat and ran. The pier was dark, cold, the kind of cold that cut through layers. She could see the water black, endless, dotted with lights from distant ships. There were cars parked at the edge. Headlights off, figures standing in shadows. She walked toward them, her breath misted in the air. One of the figures stepped forward. Not James. A man she didn't recognize, older, Korean, expensive coat. Maya raised. His voice was smooth, educated. I've heard a lot about you. Where's James? Busy, the man smiled. But I wanted to meet the woman who returned his wallet, the woman who made him soft. Her pulse spiked. I don't know who you are. My name is Kim. I run the docks, and I have a proposal for you. I'm not interested. You haven't heard it yet. Kim walked closer. James is a problem. He's consolidated too much power, made too many enemies. He's going to start a war whether he wants to or not. And when he does, a lot of people are going to die, including you. He wouldn't let that happen. He can't stop it. Kim stopped 2 feet away. But you can walk away, disappear. I'll give you money, a new identity, a fresh start. In exchange, you leave him. And without you, he'll have one less thing to protect, one less weakness. You think I'm his weakness. I know you are. Kim's smile faded. He's already killed 3 people because they got too close to you. How many more before he loses control? Before he makes a mistake he can't walk back from? Maya's throat tightened. I'm not leaving him. Then you're signing his death warrant. No, you are. James's voice cut through the cold like a blade. Kim turned. James stood at the edge of the shadows, hands in his coat pockets, expression unreadable. Behind him, 6 men stepped into the light, silent, armed. Kim didn't move. Kang, I was just talking to your girl. I heard. James walked forward slowly. You're going to apologize to her. Then you're going to leave. And then you're going to remember that if you ever come near her again, I'll kill everyone you've ever loved before I kill you. Kim's jaw tightened. You can't protect her forever. Watch me. James stopped beside Maya, his hand settling on her lower back. Apologize. Kim stared at him, then at Maya. I'm sorry. Louder. I'm sorry. James nodded. Leave. Kim left. His men followed. The cars started, headlights cutting through the dark as they drove away. Maya exhaled. Her hands were shaking. How did you know? I always know. James turned her to face him, hands cupping her face. Are you okay? I think so. Did he hurt you? No. Good, he kissed her forehead. I'm sorry, I should have seen this coming. You can't predict everything. I can try, he pulled her close. Kim was right about one thing, you are my weakness, and people are going to keep trying to use you against me. Then what do we do? James looked at her for a long moment. We make sure you're not a weakness. We make you something they're more afraid of than me. How? By making them understand that you're not just mine. You're protected, untouchable, and anyone who tries to hurt you won't just answer to me. They'll answer to everyone who owes me. That's not how this works. It is now. He kissed her, slow and deliberate. I'm not losing you, Maya, not to them, not to anyone. She believed him. Because she'd seen what he was willing to do. And she knew he'd do worse. Spring came quietly. The city thawed. The restaurant thrived. Maya's mother moved back home, stronger, healthier. James stayed close. He taught her more how to negotiate, how to read a lie, how to hold a room's attention without saying a word. And he introduced her to his world, not as a guest, as a partner. She met the other bosses, the ones who controlled territories, shipments, money. They looked at her with suspicion at first, then curiosity, then respect. Because she didn't flinch when they tested her. She didn't back down when they pushed. And she had James's trust, which in their world was worth more than gold. She became something she'd never imagined, someone who mattered. Someone who had power not because she took it, but because she'd earned it by being exactly who she was. And James stayed beside her. Not in front, not behind, beside. It was late April when he took her back to his apartment, the same one where she'd returned the wallet months ago. The city spread out below them, lights glittering like scattered diamonds. I need to tell you something, James said. Maya turned from the window. Okay. I've been offered a position, head of the council. It's the highest seat in the organization. That's big. Yes, he walked to her. It means more responsibility, more danger, and it means you'll be a target. I'm already a target. This is different. This is permanent. He took her hands. If I take it, there's no stepping back. No quiet life, no normal. Have we ever been normal? No, but we could be if you want. His eyes searched hers. I could walk away, give it all up. We could leave, start over somewhere safe. Maya stared at him. You'd do that. For you, yes. She thought about it, about what that life would look like. Quiet, simple, safe, everything she'd wanted before she met him. But it wouldn't be real. Because James without his world wouldn't be James. And she'd fallen in love with all of him. The danger, the control, the man who'd shown up at her door and changed everything. Take the position, she said. Maya. Take it, I'll be fine. You'll be in danger. I've been in danger since I gave you back that wallet. She kissed him, and I wouldn't change it. You're insane. Probably, she smiled, but I'm yours. James pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. You're mine, and I'm never letting you go. She believed him, because she knew what promises meant to James Kang. And she knew he'd keep this one forever. The restaurant hummed with evening noise. Maya stood in the office, ledger open, numbers balanced. Everything was in order, everything was safe. James appeared in the doorway. He didn't say anything, just looked at her the way he always did, like she was the only real thing in a world full of shadows. Ready? He asked. For what? Dinner. I'm taking you somewhere. Where? Somewhere you've never been. He held out his hand. Trust me. She took it. Because she did. And as they walked out into the night, into the city that had tried to break her, into the world that had made them, Maya realized something. She wasn't drowning anymore. She was exactly where she was supposed to be.